Hey, at this point in the show, we got the greatest of all time, and it is Jory Jansen joining us. We're going to level up our conversation around intermittent.
Morning.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm a little bit fatigued, but for a good reason. There were like 12, 13-year-olds hanging out last night. So
I was wondering.
good times.
I was wondering how today was going to go for you today, and I thought today's a great conversation to continue. We started out the week with Jory was intermittent fasting. There's people waking up today, crushed a bunch of chocolate and peanut butter. Okay. And when I got some people in my DM saying, Keith, I hear your conversations about intermittent fasting, and I get the basics of it, but I don't know how to start. Yeah. Like, do I starve myself for 24 hours? Do I not eat for a week? Do I do the Keith Billis and pretend I'm fasting, but put the MCT on my coffee fast? Or is it 16-8? Like, what is it, Jory? Because you hear all these conflicting, but how do I start, Jory? Let's start right there for Nation today. How do you start intermittent fasting?
I always go back to start with what's your purpose in doing anything.
Yes.
Right? So what are you fasting for? And if it's to get rid of some things, you can fast some things.
Like what?
I'll give an example. Yeah. I have a client who has been for 1 year, is going to be fasting Lay's potato chips. I'm not saying, so that to them was one thing that was out of control for them. And as you, like for you, it's something that gives you control, gives you purpose, gives you something that you're proud that you've accomplished, right? So it might be a give up versus what we totally think of as a fast, but gain something back. Control, wow, I can do this kind of thing. So maybe it's that. It could be something more like you're trying to, this is iffy in the research. There's some research that does support it, but you're trying to change up everything metabolic, right? So you want to get into ketosis, which means then you need to fast more than a 16-8 or, 24 hours. You need more than a day to really, truly get into ketosis. So it depends on what you're trying to get out of the fasting, where you would start. But I would say if you're someone that has struggled with achieving goals in the past, I always say set yourself up for success, not failure. Don't start with the hardest thing, start with the simplest thing. Maybe it's from 8 o'clock till 10 a.m.
Yes.
Is your fast, right? And then again, how successful, unsuccessful, what's your why, what strategies do you need to put in place? Is this right for you? The other piece too, it goes to what's going on in your world. The funny thing is, my daughter and I, like parents are like, how do you have these conversations with your daughter? She actually still wants to talk with you. We talk about everything. She's 13. We've talked about anything that think of, we've talked about. And last night, her and her friend, she had her best friend stayed over, and they were like, so what are you going to be talking about? And I said, we're talking about fasting. And they're like, so what exactly is that? And then we got to the point of, so why would people do that? And I said,
interesting.
Same thing. And then the coolest part for me was, which made my heart sing, was that both of them were like, why not just not have candy every day then?
Johnny, they're watching mom. They're watching mom. They're not listening to mom.
100%. Our kids don't give a shit what we say. They care what we do. I love to hear what you're talking about with your daughters, because I had the same with mine. And now, of course, they learned all this information. Of course, they revolted a little bit once they became independent, but then they came right back to realize, oh my God, thank you for raising me this way, because now I understand how to do it when I really want to feel good and be productive.
And they get to decide, right? They choosing. It's like what you were talking about in the previous episode, right? Or show coming into this one is choose, decide, get up. And with my daughter, she, like me, sweet tooth. We love our sweets. Sometimes though, when she comes, she's like, I'm hungry. I'm like, and she's looking around and I know her. Are you looking for, because you're hungry, or are you looking for a treat? And she smiles, she goes, a treat. I'm like, absolutely. Yes, you can, just not right now. And we've always had that conversation. It's not a no, not at all today or forever. It's a right now. There's a reason that we're just not going to do that.
So hold on, let's go there. Let's lean into that, because I like this. Because you're not saying no, you're resetting the boundary. AJ talked about boundaries, John, Marty, Jory, not being a bad thing, but you've established a boundary with your daughter saying, I love that keyword, not right now. So then the subsequent question is, okay, so then when? Because then are you teaching her that, no, we're not eating right now, we're not eating until 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock? Is that really the teaching, Jory, when you're saying not right now?
But we've also done the things where it's your birthday. Sure, you want cake for breakfast. And my clients love that. They're like, I'm working with a dietitian who lets their kid have their birthday cupcake for breakfast before they go to school. Yeah.
Quick question, is that after?
They are going to have a morning snack. They are going to have lunch, right? So, yeah.
But quick question, with that morning cupcake, do you have her eat like some eggs or something before, or do you literally just drop it on an empty stomach? Wow.
She can decide. Do you need something else? Do you want a cup of milk? We drink milk in our house. Some people don't. That's cool. There's always that offer. But that's
her day, her choice.
Understanding that this isn't every day, because she's asked, and I'm like, no, not today.
But really what you're doing is teaching you're teaching a sustainable life habit. What you're saying to her is that, and I don't think you're framing it as a cheat day. You're framing it as a, hey, this is not something we do every single day, but hey's a day you can go have a cupcake to start your day.
It's a moment in the day, right?
A moment.
It's not an all day. It's not, oh, I screwed up this morning, or whichever part of your day it might have been. This is the moment. And so whether it was planned or unplanned, it's a moment. And you have the choice within seconds to decide what the next is going to be. And it's the same thing with fasting, right? Go back. Is this something that you're like, why are you doing it? For most people, it's usually for my clientele, it's usually because they're looking for something to help them with weight loss.
Yes.
For the next thing. And anytime that you're going to follow anything consistently, those tiny little consistent changes lead to an outcome. So whether you choose to be fasting or choose to eat more nutrient dense foods versus just calorie dense foods, that's going to lead to an outcome. Whatever you do most consistently is what's going to end up with, right?
That's really cool. I like the parenting similarities, because I didn't tell my daughters no either. What I said was, yeah, you can have that, but you need to put something solid in your stomach first. That was our rule. Because in many cases they wouldn't eat what they needed to first, and it was a choice. Like you said, they're like, oh God, if I got to eat 2 hard-boiled eggs before I have that, maybe it's not really that important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like this morning, the girls got up and I was like, do you want some eggs? Do you want some milk? And they're like exhausted because yes, they had their feast last night. And they're like, yeah, let's chat.
Ready for some good food.
Some actual food.
This is what you've said, Jory. Halloween's over. Now we're back to normal. And I love how you framed out the idea of the moment. This is the moment. Enjoy it. But it's just a moment. It's not your whole life. I love that.
Oh, absolutely. My daughter will catch me and she'll be like,
yeah,
oh, you're having your treat, but remember, slow down.
Oh, I like that. So that holds mom accountable too.
Yeah, again, she's not saying mom don't, because you know your goals. She's saying slow down and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And Johnny, it's the same thing Terry says to you, right? Because you said often where you're making a bad decision and Terry will say, honey, you're going down that path, right? Like,
you know what she says? She says, and this phrase just gets under my skin, but I love her for telling me. She says, I don't think that's a good idea. Damn it. I don't, that's what last thing I want to hear right now, but you're so correct. And okay, I'll push it away.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sometimes the littlest thing, you just need a little, it's snapping your wrist, Keith. You just need that little checkpoint. Okay. God damn it. Yeah. I was really not paying too close attention here. This is silly.
Yeah. Jory, dropping nuggets again, dude.
I want to add something real quick. Real quick. Jory, I love how you're teaching your daughter that, because there are adults who don't understand this concept. I can't go anywhere. If I go to a little ice cream spot, I might want to try a pizza spot. Sorry, John. I might want to try every now and then. I live a super disciplined life. I always run into somebody I know, and they trying to put me on Instagram. Oh, you can't eat that. I thought you said it's one time. This is a moment. I'm right back to my regular routine Monday. And so I just love that you're teaching your daughter that at such a young age.
Sometimes I'm not nice though. This is a true story. Years ago, I used to work in long-term care as a clinical dietitian, and they used to always watch Jory can eat at lunch today. I got a little bit tired of it. So I came into the lunchroom with not just like a regular chocolate bar, but the king size chocolate bar. And I went in without a lunch that I left in my office, and I just sat there eating chocolate bar. And it was like silent in the lunchroom. It was silent. But then afterwards I went back and I was like, I need some food. But that's just normal as humans. We all have other things that we enjoy besides the broccoli and chicken and sweet potato.
Yes.
And so it's just figuring out what works for you. If fasting is like really exciting or it's really showing discipline, then just make sure you're setting yourself for success. Also, like I said last time, the odds around you, what are they interpreting out of that?
The flip side of that story, Jory. So it wasn't really a break room, but a bunch of us are sitting down to eat the food that we had. And of course, people are whipping out candy bars and Kit Kats and McDonald's and all sorts of shit. So I literally pulled 5 hard-boiled eggs out with the shells and just started putting them in, chewing them down with the shells. And people are just like, first off, they looked at each other, then they looked the other way, and then they looked at me like, is he going to swallow? Put the next one.
I mean, he's got to have fun.
So that's exactly what it's all about.
We're hanging out during the protein break. Jory, can you stick around for 2 minutes here? Hey, Flynn, let's bring Flynn up on stage, Jimmy. We got the brand bite coming up, but Flynn's mom, and Flynn had kids last night, and she had Halloween, and I'm
literally beside me right now.
I'm really curious to hear what Flynn's thinking, hearing Jory talk about parenting and food, because she's just dropping nuggets this morning. So Flynn, as you're listening to Jory talk.
I needed you in this exact moment. My child came down. She had her little thing of candy, and she's going, "I'm to eat." And I said, "You can absolutely eat it, just not right now." And what you said, you can go upstairs, you can pick out the one you're going to have later. About that when you get excited about it, just not right now. So it was
beautiful.
Yeah, and then she screened Jory and blamed it on you. See, the lady on the show said you can't eat right now. So
right. I love hearing John and all of his parenting tips. I love Jory hearing yours as well, because my kids are young. They're 5 and 2. And some of these things we haven't been through yet. So it's really great information for me as well.
I'm working with 7-year-olds that have body image issues already, right?
Well, I had image issues. I had disordered eating, constantly a thought in my mind of like, how am I not perpetuating that while also not making it a deal, because I get stressed that it's going to be a deal. So yeah, it's a constant battle.
Absolutely. That's a series in and of itself, Keith.
Well, I was just saying, Jory, I think we set up next week's series, whether it's body issue, whether it's ketosis, a little bit of both. Because Jory, you talked for 12 minutes today, dropped just nugget after nugget. I'm like, okay, we can talk about that now. We can talk about that now. And it's just this one thing after another here. And it's funny, Jory, because I see a comment from Lauren here as well saying it was something along that because they're bet you can't eat just one type things. And Marty, you've met Lauren. She's the same way, Jory. She'll eat a box of popcorn and people are like, oh, you eat popcorn? Because they don't see that she eats good food 99% of the time. And it's, I'm having a moment right now.
Yeah, labeling, right? It's good or bad.
No.
It is what it is, and you decide how to fit that into your world. And that's really important, because otherwise, for some, not everybody, so I'm not like globalizing, but for some people, it creates inward shame, right?
Yes. Yeah, you just took the words out of my mouth. They look at that and go, oh, she eats that. I guess I can too. You know what? You don't do the shit that she does when nobody's looking. So shut up and get to work.
I keep going, so I won't, but good is great. I love the conversation.
Jory, I appreciate you every single day you show up on the show. I know that I speak for Marty and John and Christina. You continue to drop value for us. So I appreciate that. Yes. Quickly, any big plans for the weekend with the kids or the husband? Or you guys gonna crush some food, or what do you got going on this weekend, Jory?
We're gonna watch our daughter play in a volleyball tournament.
Fun.
Joy.
Oh yeah.
How fun is that? That's amazing times right there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Miss that stuff. Miss that stuff.
And I hope all of you have a great weekend as well. So
you as well. Thanks, Jory.
Jory, thanks for hanging out. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the volleyball tournament, and we'll talk Monday. And we got to go, and I'll text you on a good topic, because we got some good stuff to talk about for sure for next week.
Awesome.
Thanks, Jory. Take care.
Bye.
All right, Jory.
All right, guys, we got Flynn coming up. We're running a few minutes late, but that's okay. Great chat with Jory, man. Wow, good conversation.